What's up, everybody? This is the Act Man here, and today it looks like those leaks about the Modern Warfare 2 Remaster were true. You probably heard, but Activision and Infinity Ward kind of just threw Modern Warfare 2 Remastered out just like it was nothing. They didn't really have any promotion or, build up or hype to this game, which I find pretty strange. So, what has Infinity Ward added to Modern Warfare 2's campaign to spice it up, make it better? How did it turn out? Why isn't multiplayer and Spec Ops in with this bundle? And what about Call of Duty 2020? So, truth be told, when it comes to the remaster, it ain't all that. Let me just say I'm not jumping out of my seat to get my hands on it. At a time like this, PlayStation has put more value on we want to be the first ones to have this experience over just like the general goodwill and well wishes from gamers everywhere, Why not, with the pandemic going on, just let everyone from all platforms enjoy it now? PS4 still has Spec Ops Survival for the next 6 months. Hope you've been playing that shit every day for 6 months and you aren't getting tired of it at all. Releasing a separate mode was one thing, but an entire remaster just seems really stupid. Now, to be fair, it's only $20. However, it's only the campaign, and how many times do you really plan to replay this remaster? Honestly. But this is real bizarre, because we're seeing the first Call of Duty game ever released without a multiplayer. Imagine, if you will, a Call of Duty game with no multiplayer, no Spec Ops, no microtransactions, and no loot boxes. This game does not exist. It is only a part of the Twilight Zone. I honestly didn't have many expectations for the remaster. I figured I would get some enjoyment out of it, which I have, to be fair. But since I've already reviewed the campaign, multiplayer, Spec Ops, in my wonderful, beautiful, kick-ass Why is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 So Awesome review, check that out here if you would like. But I'm not going to be touching on those aspects of it or like the story, okay? Just so we're clear. And what I'm really curious about is why now? Why is this released now? Is it because of the pandemic and everything? Why did Activision and Infinity Ward not hype this up more? This franchise is known for overhyping their products to a ridiculous degree. First off, where's the multiplayer in Spec Ops? Activision made a blog post stating that they didn't want to split the player base of Modern Warfare and have it spill into Modern Warfare 2 Remastered. Now, first off, I applaud them for at least addressing the tougher questions. A lot of companies, I feel, don't do that. But when they say they don't want to split the player base, it's really convincing, coming from a company that has continued to support splitting the player base through exclusivity deals. It's really convincing. Okay, I'm just throwing shade their way. Honestly, I do get where they're coming from. Breaking news! Actman agrees with Activision's decision! No, not necessarily. I just understand it, okay? I mean, when you put all that much time, money, effort, and everything into a product like Modern Warfare, which seems to be one of the most ambitious COD games of all time, you put all that effort in a project in the hopes that you can get a big enough paycheck to get the sickest wheelies in town. I get it, we've all been there. So they don't want to bring in another multiplayer experience, and I can't blame them. Call of Duty being a 6-month franchise as opposed to a year franchise, no, we don't need that, folks. We don't need that many multiplayers, okay? And I've been really impressed with what Infinity Ward has been able to do with all the updates and balance changes. They have made Modern Warfare so much better than it was when I reviewed it. It almost feels like the whole team behind it is still working on it day to day. I think it's definitely the right way to go, to instead focus on bringing in fan favorite Modern Warfare 2 maps to the new game. Honestly, that would be more exciting because now it's like, okay, cool, yeah, the best fucking maps in the series brought back to a new game with what I consider to be the best gunplay. Bing bang boom, I'm set for life. Now, it has been theorized that this is all just to test the waters of how people react to MW2 Remastered, to see if it's worth it, but I don't know how you equate interest in a campaign with interest in a multiplayer, so whatever. Obviously, I would love to throw down again on Afghan high-rise estate, all the beautiful maps that stole my heart, and you still can't play Modern Warfare 2 on the old servers. Probably a shit ton of hackers, but that's besides the point. Maybe the experience just wouldn't be the same. Could you really replicate social trends and Xbox Live at the time and party chat?
What do you want me to use? You tell me what you want to fucking use.
Maybe to an extent, but I feel like some things are better left undone. And to be honest, the Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, remastering it could go either way, in my opinion. But with Infinity Ward's dank remake of Rust and Modern Warfare, it's getting me real excited to see what else they have in store. Back to the actual remaster, I feel like they really should have included Spec Ops. Even if it was just better graphics and the exact same missions, it's content that some fans will want to revisit. And if you want to, then you'll have to pay $20 for the original or already own it. Okay, so how is the remaster overall? How does it stack up to the original? Is it worth getting? Well, when it comes to pure gameplay, what can I say? It plays the same in every way. The shooting, running, jumping, ADS, throwing nades, enemy AI, scripted sequences. The skeleton of the 2009 version is still here, completely intact. It does feel a little outdated, but it's not awful. A few levels are slightly different. The tutorial area has been expanded and, man, shut up, Foley. I need to see how this basketball game turns out. There's a lot more to see around here. Even included some hidden Easter eggs, and it makes for a nice reintroduction to Modern Warfare 2. Now, there aren't too many substantial improvements to the campaign. I feel like Modern Warfare 2 was a bit too linear to be worth remastering on its own, unless you were to do a complete overhaul of the cutscenes and just redo those, but they didn't. So I'm kind of like, this is kind of worth it. And it was actually disappointing to hear the classic MW2 theme at the main menu. I thought at the very least you guys could, play around with Hans Zimmer's electrifying war-ridden soundtrack. Now, the only real difference in the gameplay is Intel can activate cheats. Several of them are just difficulty intensifiers akin to skulls in Halo. Most of us have dreamed and thought of, at one point, what if we could play Modern Warfare 2's campaign, but where every enemy has a pineapple for a head? Or they're invisible, These are questions and dreams you can now live through in Modern Warfare 2 Remastered. This is a pretty big improvement, as the only reason you would want to get Intel in the original game was just for the achievements. One of my favorite parts of the new remaster is the option to choose whether or not you are going to be offended. This is a great meme, and I feel like its application in society is beyond practical. Now, this remaster isn't meant to change the gameplay, but more so make it feel refreshed and revitalized. Everyone else has probably already said this, or probably will, who's reviewing this game. It feels more modern. Aside from a pure visual upgrade, most weapons have new sound effects, making them feel and sound beefier, as well as the ability to inspect them and get this cool little animation that shows them off. Some weapons have overhauled reload animations. Now, my only gripe is more of a philosophical one. If you really want a Call of Duty experience with sleek guns and impressive sound effects, visually gorgeous, why wouldn't you just play Modern Warfare? You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to diminish the work here, I'm just saying there is some internal competition. Cutscenes. When it comes to cutscenes, the briefings at the beginning and end of each mission are the exact same, and I'm fairly disappointed in that. I feel like there was a missed opportunity to retell this story with some new additions, take the Gears of War Ultimate Edition route and add in a couple more missions, or the Halo Combat Evolved anniversary, do a new soundtrack with updated visuals and everything like that. They could have retold this story in new and interesting ways, and I can't harp on it too much because it is only $20, but some other games have really set the standard for what you should expect from a remake/remaster. I do appreciate the effort made to make some of the in-game cutscenes more immersive and interesting, as if the original writers went back and just revised their work to make it a little better. You can see this in SSDD with the way Shepard picks you up and throws you forward at the beginning.
Get up, Private Allen! Rangers lead the way! Move!
The prison sequence with Price arguably has the biggest and most improvement out of all the cutscenes. At the end of No Russian, a soldier kicks away your weapon, and that final scene is a bit longer. In Loose Ends, Roach will grab Shepard for a couple seconds after he's shot. It just feels like they're really trying to flesh out some of the important moments. In the final mission, there is also no longer the classy twirled knife movement that you do after getting stabbed, which is pretty freaking hilarious to think about. That Soap would have enough strength, fortitude, and state of mind to just be like, I gotta fucking show off here, dude. You know, character models look way better overall, more realistic, the environments. If you're a huge stickler for graphics and details, you'll probably really appreciate it. You know, pretty much every single scene or location looks better in the remaster when compared side by side, and that's really what you want. You don't want something like BioShock where you're like, okay, what the fuck is different about this? Nothing. Still, it's not a massive difference. Despite the negatives I've laid out with the remaster, I still think there's enough new here to justify a purchase for hardcore fans. More casual ones, not as much. There's a shit ton of Call of Duty campaigns out there. Play Black Ops 2, baby. Now, they did add a retroactive Easter egg with Yuri in No Russian, who appeared in Modern Warfare 3. There's a little Easter egg there, and I really enjoy the way they have incorporated the story of Modern Warfare 3 into both the COD 4 Remastered and MW2 Remastered. It just kind of creates this more unified experience and almost makes me think that they're gonna remaster Modern Warfare 3, at least the campaign, you know? Overall, I'd say the remaster is fun, but I would have had more fun with a Spec Ops mode or even a multiplayer. Maybe it's because I replayed the campaign within the last year or so, but I feel like overall Call of Duty campaigns just don't have the same level of replayability, variety, and polish as something like Halo, you know? But when I hear that sick soundtrack, I am totally willing to dive right back into it and save Burger Town once again. Who knows, maybe the multiplayer leak is going to turn out to be true. Maybe the scientists at Activision and Infinity Ward are just trying out their new concoction on all of us. We're the mice, and how we react will determine whether or not MW2's multiplayer gets remastered. I remain skeptical, but if you somehow don't like what Infinity Ward have done with Modern Warfare, then, you know, you got 2 months before we're likely to hear news on Call of Duty 2020. Speaking of which, in other Call of Duty news, Price! The silo doors are open! I repeat, the silo doors are open! Treyarch is handling next year's shooty game, which made me think, shouldn't it be Sledgehammer's turn? But no, they actually have kind of been relegated to helping with Modern Warfare, which is good. God, World War II sucked. Now, I've heard it's going to be like a Black Ops 1 remake, which, you know, it does feel really cheesy that we can't have new things or new ideas. But if it gets the same treatment as Modern Warfare 2019, I am going to be 100% down for that. A modern dive into the Vietnam War with Alex Mason and Viktor Reznov, Dragovich, or even if they tell an entirely new story with the same characters, you know, the setting and everything is glorious AF. All I'm saying right now is I don't care too much, but when I envision it, I can see myself caring a whole lot. Now, one last note, I would love to review Warzone and revisit Modern Warfare, but I ran into a serious issue where my account is no longer on my Xbox. I have nothing, no progress, can't reach out, contact Activision. I've tried, there's a huge fucking problem with unlinking and linking my account. It's dumb. So I'll post something in the pinned comment, but anybody that can help me please help me resolve this issue and I can check out the multiplayer again. But that is gonna wrap it up here, folks. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you check out the Raycon E25 headphones. They are seriously awesome. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the Act Man for more awesome content. That's all I've got for today. This is the Act Man signing out. Peace!